Good afternoon. Let's continue the chapter 11 in the module 4. That's a file system implementation module. Okay, in that partitions and mounting. So meaning of partition is, as I told earlier, if in our computer if we have C drive for OS installation, D drive for study, E drive for family photo, we can say we have a three partitions C, D and E. Okay, so suddenly if assumption that I have connected one pen drive, so along with the C, D, E drive, one more drive will be created virtually, that is called as F drive. So F for pen drive. So if I name the pen drive as operating system or songs, okay, so what happens is C drive for OS, D drive for study material, E drive for family photos, and F drive, which is just now mounted, okay, mounted, is consist of songs. Okay, so if you have a two type of a partition with respect to the this one pen drive. So one is raw and another one is cooked. So what you mean by raw is, if you brought a fresh pen drive or the pen drive which has zero data, that means formatted pen drive, it is called as raw partition, which is mounted. Whereas if I have already some data in that pen drive, like a software, Keel software, FlashMagic, or some OS related material, and I have connected that into my computer, then F drive, which is a pen drive, it is called as cooked file system or cooked data. So we can do the pen drive as bootable pen drive or bootable USB, that is called as root partition. If we have installed two OS in our computer like Windows and Ubuntu, both the drives where we install the OS, they called as bootable partition, okay, or else called as root partition. They consist of OS. Okay, some today we can do the pen drive also bootable with the OS image. Okay, so OS image, so that will become bootable pen drive or bootable USB. So that partition is called as bootable. Okay, mounting means, as I told in the last chapter also, if we connect a pen drive or a new file system or a file tree into the existing file tree of a computer, so one of the parent node will take a responsibility of that tree of a pen drive. So that is called as mounting success. Always to access a file in the pen drive, it should be mounted successfully mounted. If not, so we cannot access the contents of pen drive. Okay, so that is what with respect to partitions and the mounting. So next one is the virtual file system. I will show one diagram so you can easily understand what you mean by virtual file system. A file system which we are accessing but it is not present in our disk is called as virtual file system. Okay, you can see here. So in our computer, whatever we have arrangement of a file, this is called as file system interface, virtual file system interface. Okay, so from the file system of our computer, we interact with the virtual file system interface. Virtual file system will try to search a file in any of the server, any of the disk, like the hard disk or a pocket disk, or if not present, it will give us a service from the network. Say for example, you wanted to download some IEEE paper, you wanted to refer. So if you have already downloaded some days before or some hours before, then that is there in your disk, that means hard disk, you can refer that. If not, you would have kept that downloaded file in the pen drive. That is also one type of option. If you have not yet downloaded, then definitely you have to download it from the network. So that is called as remote file system. So remote file system always not present in our computer. That's why the first two are called as local file system. The last one is called as remote file system. Okay, remote means which is not present in our computer system. It may be present in some other servers, Google server or IEEE paper server like a Springer, etc. Okay. So virtual file system is like object oriented way of implementation. Okay, so what happens here in the virtual file system is the user can access the file, but that file will not be present in his own system. Instead, it is present in some other type of or some other source of a disk or the memory. Okay, so here user can access directly or with the file routines. Okay, so if we remember the path where exactly it is present, we can use the path and get it access. Otherwise, through the search method, we can definitely get the data. Okay, so for this we need two options. The first one is file system interface. I think you can see here in the diagram, file system interface, and another one is virtual file interface, virtual file system interface. In file system interface, the following commands will work. Those are open, close, read, write, map. Why these will work is, see, the file is already present. Okay, file is already present. So we can open a file, close a file, read a file, write into the file. Okay, these all. Whereas in the directory mode of implementation, okay, in the directory mode of implementation, we have two options. Okay, one more point is to tell you is, what about virtual file system interface? It works in two. It mainly do two works or two functions. Separate a filing system generic operation from their implementation and uniquely represents a file. So what is important of separation and uniquely representation is, say for example, you might have tried for right click and sort by type. Okay, so if you sort by type in the file system or a folder, what happens is on the top we will get a PDF, next we will get a doc, next we will get a JPG, like that. So they are like grouping them based upon the data or type of the file. So there we can easily search a content. So second thing is uniquely representing a file. Say for example, if you have 1.mp3, another file cannot be 1.mp3. So unique, each file is unique. So whenever we are storing, that time only we should take care that no two files will have same name. Okay, OS itself will tell the file name is already exist, so use the different. Okay, that is only the concept. Still, the file system should always take care that there are no two files with the same name. Okay, that's what the virtual file system functions. So next we have is directory implementation. This is the important what you can expect in examination. So directory implementation of file system. So very simple way is, in your computer, assume that you have opened up a D drive, that means study material. Next, first sem, second sem, third sem, fourth sem. There is a folder called fourth sem. You will double click on that. M4, then DA, then OS, then etc. OS is a subfolder. Again you will double click on that. Module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5, again subfolders. You will open up a module 4. There you will get this PPT. Okay, let me show the way what I am explaining here. I hope you can see now. This is my Google Drive. Okay, so here I will open. I have 3 folders: OS for 4th Sem A, ARM Lab for 4th B, ARM Theory for 4th B. Now I am discussing with the 4th Sem A student. So I will double click. I think you can get it now. See, this is what directory implementation. Module 1 to module 4. So now I will click this. See, assignment, chapters of reference. This is what I am using. Okay, I think you can see now. See how they are arranged. First file is doc. Second set of files is PPT. So in the same way, okay, in the same way you also might have arranged. Okay, so if you have arranged data in a linear method, one file next to the another, it is called as linear list. Generally, we will not prefer linear list because we need to give every file different name and we should remember what is the name I have given. Okay, simple way, take up library textbooks and keep it in a one rack where searching a textbook will be very difficult. That's what linear. Okay, so time to execute is very more because you have to check each and every textbook and decide. Always you cannot say the book what you wanted will be the first available, because all the textbook in college library you have kept in same rack. It is difficult. Okay, so it will be easy if we would have segregated based upon branch. Again, the branch wise is segregated into year wise segregated into subject wise, like that. A CS student will go to library and he will ask for OS textbook. What the library person will do? First he will tell go to CS section, then he will tell fourth rack, second row, like that he will give some idea. Okay, based upon that you can easily search the textbook and get the textbook. Okay, so linear is not a best way if we have bunch of data, whereas if we have very less it will be easy. Say for example you have 6 textbook in your personal library. So what you will do? 6 textbook. First M4, second 42 subject, third 43 subject, 44. Just 6 subjects are there. You will arrange them in order because data quantity is less. That time linear is easy. See, six textbooks are there. You want to search for OS. So what you will do? You will leave first 2. You will pick up the third because subject code is 43. Okay. Whenever data quantity is less, you can go for linear list. If data, as the data becomes bulk or quantity becomes more, don't prefer linear list. Then you prefer hash table. Hash table concept means what I told in our college library. So first they will divide based upon first logic called branch. Again, if you take up one branch rack, okay, CS related racks, so then they will divide based upon year. Again, in the year wise, they divide whether it is a odd sem or even sem. So again, in an odd semester, first subject, second subject, third subject, like that they keep on dividing. So that is called as hash table. So what is important of this? There won't be any collision. So what do you mean by collision? So if you go for 4th semester CS textbook rack, you will not get any mechanical subject because it is related to CS rack, CS subjects rack. So this is very good when we have fixed size. Fixed size. All branches have equal. Otherwise what happens? Okay. So to remember where it is present, say for example, if we prepare 100 racks of different, so it is difficult to remember which rack for which particular semester of which branch. That itself become difficult. Okay, medium quantity of data if we have, then hash table is preferable. So then comes allocation. So what do you mean by allocation methods? Okay. So here, let me show the first diagram. Here it is the allocation concept. Okay, so you can see now, as the word indicates, contiguous allocation. Once we get to know starting and length, continuously we have to give it for that particular file. Means this is a block. Okay, you can see there is a file name called count whose starting address is 0. You can see starting address is 0 here. Okay, how many blocks of memory it is requesting? 2. You can see here length is 2. So if I start 0th, one more is first, so 0th and first together will give us 2 length for count file. If you open anything here, it is related to count file contents. I repeat, count file contents. Next you can see file name is tr. What is the start address? 14th. You can see here 14th means this row. How many? 14th is a starting from there, three blocks, 14, 15, 16. You can see here, which is in a little different color. You can see 14, 15, 16. 3 blocks of memory is allocated. So third file is mail. So the number is 19th. From there 6. You can see 19th. 1, 20 is second, 21 is third, 22 is fourth, 23rd is fifth, 24th is sixth. So 19th to 24th is for mail. So next one is list. Starting is 28th, length is 4. You can see 28, 29, 30, 31. So these all are for list file. And again there is a last file called with the name F. That's the starting address is 6, total blocks are 2. That means you fix only 6. This is fixed. From there use a logic of continuous. That means 2, 6th and 7th. So now the condition or the concept. What do you mean by methods, allocation methods? So whenever you create a directory, that means folder, so allocate the memory one after another. That too looking into availability. Okay, now you can ask a question. If 6 is given for F, why don't we wrote that 6 here? That means here. That means only starting address is fixed. Okay, starting address is fixed. It doesn't mean, sorry, length is fixed. It doesn't mean we should give 2, 3 only. Even though you can see, even though 2, 3, 4, 5 are free, still we are giving 6 and 7 for this F file, because its starting address is fixed. Okay, length is fixed. Starting address we can vary. If we change one more time, starting address for 2 and 3 will become the allocation for F file. So continue wherever it is available. I mean, how much it require, those two should be continuously given. It doesn't mean it should give always from the starting. Okay, if starting is given, okay. If not, starting is not given, you can give first available this much length. First available this much length. So that is called as contiguous. It is best in the most of the executions. And also it is simple because always search starts from the beginning. Very simple way. Let's assume that I have wrote a G file. And length as 2. So what is the best allocation where you will allocate? You will try to give it here, but it is occupied. So you will always try to give 2 and 3 because its expectation is 2 and 2 and 3 are free. So you will directly allocate. That's what idea. So continuous allocation always it will be a best because it starts from the beginning portion of a, okay. It solves the problem of remembering the file size. Why? Because the file size is given here. This table will only mention, or it will only remember what is the file size required. Hence we can say the implementation will become simple. Okay, each file occupies continuous blocks of the memory on the disk, so that at any time of instance only one process can access the disk. Okay, and once it get a starting address, next it can continuously access them. Say for example, I want to open up a list file. So what I should need, I should remember start value. So I should go for 28th. If I go for 28th, I can continuously allocate. So if you get to know this non-contiguous allocation, then you will come to know whether it is advantage or disadvantage. Okay, so now that is what idea for the contiguous allocation. Okay, what is the difficulty is finding the spaces in memory is a difficulty, and it will be slower because always search starts from the beginning, it will go towards the last. So even though say for example for G file I have fixed 26 as a starting address and 2 as a length. What happens? 26 and 27 given for G. Okay, I want to open up a G file, then what happens? It will search like this, again second row, third row, fourth row, fifth, like that. Once it reaches a 26, then it will go. So that means since it is a linear and contiguous, you need to search from one or a beginning every time. So it will take a time, it will be slower. Okay, even though we have a list of free blocks, size of newly requested process is known, still allocation will become slower because of its pointer to be updated. Okay, so for that we have extension based file system. Okay, so what happens here is generally, say for example, you can see now, let's say here 2 blocks are free, 4 continuous blocks are free. So I will prepare one more table here like this, free blocks starting 2, length 4, that means 2, 3, 4, 5, these are free, starting 2, length 4. Next free block, this is occupied, now I am writing free block. If I write start, how much will the length? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So starting from 8, length is 6, that is a free table. So here you can see starting 17, length is 2, that is also free. Starting 25, length is 3, that is also free. Starting 25, length is 3, that is also free. Okay, so now if I get a file with a new request, H file, starting I don't know, length is 5. What is a good option? Length is 5. Can I fit that request here? 2, 3, 4, 5, where length is expected to be 5. That is not possible because 4 are free, but it needs a 5. I cannot fit in 17, 18, 25 onwards. I can fit only in 8 onwards. See now, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Up to this much I will fit. I will allocate. So what happens? 4 blocks, 5 blocks requested, 5 blocks has been given. Hence, H file, starting address 8, length is 5, updated in the allocation table. So this is possible when we have information about freely available blocks. So whenever, say for example, if that is also okay, then comes I file. Let's take I file. Length is not start is not defined. Length is 7. What is the option then? Length is 7. See, no 7 blocks continuously available at this. So what we have to do? We have to extend this block 32, 34, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, like that we have to extend. So name of file is I, starting is 32, length is 7. That means 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. These all are occupied. So that is called as extension based. So that means what? For the present scenario, if it is not, and new request of 7, if it is not possible to allocate, then extend that memory and allocate it to any of the requested process. Okay, and what is the limitation for that? Limitation is, does the hard disk already full, or is it possible to give solution for or space for new request? If hard disk or disk is already full, that such a request is not possible to serve that moment. When it can be served is when any of the files are deleted. Then these files, say for example, I have deleted F and also I have deleted TR. What happens at that time? 6, 7 free, 14, 15, 16 free. So that time, what is a new free table update? Starting with the 2, what is the free available? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. Starting from 2, continuously 17 blocks are freely available. So like that we can decide. Okay, so that is called as extension based. Extension is good if it is in the limit. Okay, if already the base, the limit is reached, we cannot extend. I hope you can see now your pen drive full concept. So pen drive is, pen drive is of 4 GB. You already copied a 4 GB software. So you wanted to take one more PPT or one video file of a lab experiment. So that time what it will become? It will not give a memory because the pen drive is already full. But if pen drive is partially completed like 100 MB, 200 MB, then you wanted to copy that project or lab experiment video, you can do it because it will extend and give the memory space. Okay, so next type of allocation after continuous and extended continuous is linked. So let me show the diagram first. What you mean by linked allocation? Okay, see, a directory will maintain full length path. Okay, full length path. You can see here starting and end is mentioned. Starting and end is mentioned. Also in the starting, every node, I think you can imagine linked list concept. What do you mean by linked list concept? Linked list will have 3 data. I hope you remember in your data structure: left link, data and right link. Hope you have written this in your here in your data structure class. Okay, next like this you might have written So then okay, so next is divide this. Okay, one more box I need to put it, sorry. Right, okay, here. So this is a data, this will be data, left link, right link, left link and right link. So left link means from where it has came, right link means to where it will go. In the same way, this directory path is also maintained in this way. Starting 9, you can see here, where is a 9? Here is a starting 9. You can see first edge, 9 to 16th, 16th to 1st, 1st to 10th, 10th to 25th, because that is the last. So this linked list allocation is good when we don't have continuously available memory. Let's say, see, even though this diagram consisting of all the memories are free, still linked list allocate, because to show or demonstrate how the linked list allocation works, we are using this diagram. See, what is a problem and when it is a good solution is something like in this situation which I have explained here. Okay, right now let's assume request is 9. Request is what? 9. So I file starting to, okay, leave about starting, length is 9, length is 9. So there is let's assume it's not a continuous, it's a linked. So what is the start we will give? We will give it as 2. So I will write here start as 2, 2 to 3. So out of 9 I have given 2, 7 more I have to give, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. So 4 blocks I have given, 5 more are requested, I mean required. So I cannot give 6, 7 because they are already given for F5. So after 5 I will give 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the end. So in the end I will write 12. In the start I will write 2. 2 to 3. So 2 blocks are completed. 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. 4 blocks are completed. I have to give another 5. 5 to 8. This is linked. You can see 5 to 8. 8 to 9. 9 to 10. 10 to 11. 11 to 12. See now, this is one type of allocation. Okay, so can I use one more method? Let us try like this. See, you can see now 2 to 3, because of the same request. Let's assume same request as 9. 2 to 3. Okay. Okay, I will give in a different way. See, the left of and right of this are already blocked. You can see here and also here. So what I do is, first I will allocate 17 because I cannot use it small box, okay, for any other process. So first I will start from 17, 17 to 18, 18 to 25, 25 to 6, 27. See, out of 9 expectation I have given 5. Now 4 more are remaining. I can use 2, 3, 4, 5. See the link now, 17 to 18, 18 to 19, 17 to 18, 18 to 25, 25 to 26, 26 to 27, 27 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5. By this I have utilized part of unused memory blocks twice, here and here, and one part also, so that I can use this continuous allocation for any other process who wants exactly 5 blocks in the future. So the advantage of linked method of allocation is we can have using a pointer, we can have we can access anywhere we can access the blocks even though they are non-continuously allocation. So external fragmentation problem is solved. External fragmentation problem is solved, and also we are utilizing a best free spaces. See what you mean, why I am telling free space means these two, if a process with length 2 comes, it's okay, we can allocate, but if they never come, then this cannot be used for used by any other method of allocation. So in that way linked allocation is good. Okay, so that's what free space management we have did. It also improves efficiency by clustering, as I told in the last class, grouping of related memory blocks, grouping of related memory blocks. And it's a little difficult because every node is consisting of 3 data. What are the 3 data? Original data, left link and right link. Okay, so locating a block is easier because we have a next link and previous link. Okay, so that's what. So file allocation table will utilizes this method of linked. I hope you know the word or keyword FAT or FAT32. Okay, so that will be method of allocation or technique will uses this mode of allocation, and it will be faster and cacheable. We can implement using the cache. And a new block allocation is simple because whenever we are allocating one block, we also give the address of next block where it is going to get allocated. Okay, so each file is a linked list, as I told. Okay, each file is a linked list, which is here the blocks are scattered, as I told here. They are not available in continuous. First block of memory is 17, 18. Second cluster is 25, 26, 27. Third cluster is 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that, 3 clusters for I file, which I have given as an example of 9. First cluster 17, 18. Next cluster 25, 26, 27. Total 5. Next 4 is required out of 9. 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 clusters. So like that, we will allocate with the help of cluster. So this is what a diagram which I have drawn. Okay. See, I hope you can see now the better how exactly the file allocation table algorithm will work. You can see now. So we have a directory and starting block address. So if you go for starting block address, you will get a data, and also you will get next block where to search. Next block where. See, this is not only consisting of next block address, it also consists of some data. So you will access data from 217 file and you will get a next link. So you will go to that next link, that is 618. Along with 618, some data you will get a next address, so that is 339. So you will go to 339 file and you will get a final data because there is no further reference. This is how it works in the FAT or file allocation table technique. Okay, so also how the file allocation table method is indexed. Indexed means what? How they are pointed. So each is indexed by its own index block or own index number. You can see here index number starting. Okay, starting as well as end point, right? Okay, so how the indexing will work here? You can see the one of an example. So how exactly the indexing will work? You can see here. So now what we will do is we will write to, instead of maintaining, you can see start and end or only start and length like contiguous. The table is now reduced to only one, that's the index block. Okay, index block. The file name is zip. So what is the block wise I am telling. This is not this is not individual box, it's a block. See, this block consisting of the following references. You can see now. Okay, so 19th. If you go for 19th, this does not consist any data. Instead, it consists of where all to refer. See, what is the first reference? 9th. You can try. Yes, this is the edge. First reference is 9th. Second reference is 16th. You can see here. 16th is a second reference which is slightly colored, not like a white, which is not referred. So next one is first. You can see this edge first. 10th is also in a brown color. So then 25th. So that means what? Here you can see the 25th. What indicates -1? We need a file but not yet referred. Yes, we are going to refer those files but not yet filled where we are going to access it. It is a partially filled indexed allocation. So let's assume my interested next page is in a 31st block. So replace this minus 31 with 31. So it's 24. Next 24. Next 8. Here I can write it as 8. So if it is minus 1, index is ready but page is not yet defined. If it is number is there, some positive number, then that is itself a reference where we are using. Now what is the importance of this? See, the directory is, the fields of directory table is reduced. Earlier it was start and length. Now it is in terms of block itself. Okay, and the block consisting of indices numbers where we are accessing, or where all we are accessing. Okay, so each file here will have its own index block, which is an array of disk block addresses. So this block number 19 will consist of indices. So if you open up that 19th block, it will never have data. Instead it will have where all to refer in real. Okay, so the ith entry in the index points to the ith block of the file. The directory contains the address of index block. To find and read ith block, okay, we will use ith pointer so that we will directly reach the destination exactly. Okay, right? So the indexed allocation always supports a direct access. So what do you mean by direct access or random access? Here I will try. So direct, I will try to explain. Direct access means, you can see there is a number 9th. So it will never try here to search here and there. Directly it will go to that location and get the data. So that is called as direct access. So random access means it will be by the contents. It will pick, it will goes in the some direction. If that matches, see, I want to search 9th. So it may go here and check whether 16th is equal to the expected 19. No. So it will come back. So like that it will randomly pick and check whether it is matching the expectation or not. If matches, done. If not, again it will go for the next search. So that is not a good option as a random access, but sometimes it will be correct. Okay, so dynamic access without external fragmentation is also possible to get the solution. So indexed allocation always supports a direct access, as I told, without suffering from the external fragmentation. Okay, so indexed allocation always does suffer from the wasted space because of the fragmentation. Okay, so the pointer we have is to maintain, which always try to use unused, which always try to include or access unused small part of memory block. Okay, as I told here, so you see now 0th is not utilized. If you want a page, instead of giving 30, 31st or 29, you can use it as 0th because initially it will be allocated. Okay, so there are 4 types of implementing indexed allocation. So those are index linked scheme, multi-level index, combined scheme are the some methods. Okay, so linked scheme, always an index block is normally a one disk block. Okay, this complete block itself is treated as one disk. So if we treat complete block as one disk or one disk as a block, we need to maintain single file table. So what we can do is, if file is present, we can put up its reference. If file is not present, we can maintain it as a nil or not referred. Okay, so if we have multi-level, so multi-level means instead of maintaining single level file system, we can maintain in a hierarchical, like we have explained in the previous chapter, 2 level directory, 3 level directory. Okay, so the same way here also we can store a file in different hierarchical levels. So that is what we are calling as mapping from physical to the real memory. Okay, or virtual address to physical address, right? Okay, so which block we have used and which block is not yet utilized, that we should maintain as a document. Okay, right? See, this is one which I told as hierarchical allocation. Hierarchical. See, you want to store a file, you want to store one image say for example swapping, whatever image you have studied in your previous chapter, swapping of a process. So where you need to store that file, it is in the module 3. So you'll go to module 3 PPT or some notes. Okay, so swapping is present in module 3, file is module 3. So in which subfolder it is? OS. OS is present in 4th sem, that is present in D drive, which is a study material. This is how the file is allocated using index. I repeat once again. Say for example, you have today you have drawn, you have learned, you have prepared material for some mathematics problem. You generated a solution. So what you do? Third or fourth module of mathematics. So you'll open up a file, you'll paste that solution, whatever you have got, that is present in 4th sem drive, means 4th sem folder. 4th sem of, then 4th sem is present in study material, that is present in D drive. Like that you can use an indexed allocation. Okay. See, this is one case study how the Unix file system, UFS means Unix file system, will uses a pointer to store a different type of data or different. Okay, you can see here. So about owners, about timestamp when the file is created, accessed, modified, size of the block count, how much it has accessed, how much it has modified. These all data is stored here. So that data is in a different hierarchical level, it is going to store. It's one case study. Okay. So now, which file system does the best performance? Always it's a continuous file system allocation. Okay, we cannot differentiate or we cannot say one file system is always correct. It depends upon the access. Say for example, how the this one library files are arranged, library books are arranged. They are arranged in index method. Index means pointing method. So first we will point it by department, next we will point it by the year, mean branch, then year, then subject, or a semester, then subject, like that. So when data is more, indexing method is good. When data quantity is less, contiguous is okay. Okay, I mean contiguous allocation is good, like that. So it depends upon the type of data what we are, or type of data and quantity of data. Based upon that we can measure the performance. Sometimes, okay, this is one case study, don't worry about this slide. It is how fast each processor is. They took one program, same program they executed in different processor. So how much time they took, that's as some measurement. So general definition of performance is which mode of memory allocation will be fastest in allocation and also faster in retrieving. So that will give us the performance. Okay, not all the time contiguous mode of allocation and retrieving is best, and indexed is best, and index linked is best. It depends upon the type of data what we are storing and how we are going to fetch in the future time. Okay. Okay, so the last point from this chapter we have is free space management. So the meaning of free space management is, let's assume, as I told in the earlier diagram here. Okay, so this is what, right? Here I will prepare one table of free blocks. Okay, free blocks. Block number 1, starting address is 2, length is 4. What it indicates? 2, 3, 4, 5 are free. Next, 8th starting address, so 6 is a length. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are free. Starting address 25, 3, 25, 26, 27. Starting address 17, I will write length as 2, 17 and 18. These are free. So free space management means if a new request arrives, check is it possible to fit in the any of the free space already created. Okay, so if possible fit them or allocate them, if not possible extend and allocate. So that is what option. If extension is also not possible, then use linked or indexed. See, this is how the approach. Okay, so now there exists one bit vector method. So what happens here in the bit vector method is, so generally I hope okay, if we have a continuous memory blocks like this, okay, each block is identified by unique number 0 to, okay, like this, and for each block we write 1 or 0. If it is a 1, the block is free. If it is 0, the block is occupied. I think if you go for reservation of a seat in the bus, it will be red and green. So what do you mean by red? It is occupied. For you, it is not possible to allocate or request for that book. So what do you mean by green? That is free, so that you can select the book. So something like pass mark and cross mark, X symbol. X symbol means it is occupied, pass mark means it is available. Like that also you can imagine. So free space management always indicate that. Okay, so if corresponding bit, that is, so okay, one more thing. Now if I write here some data called T, and here I write some data called as U. Okay, so here I will write bit vector. You can see now. Okay, so this is what I will write, bit vector. Okay, here you can see, right? Okay, fine. See now, for, is this occupied? Zeroth? Is zeroth occupied? Yes, this zeroth is occupied, so I will write here as 1. Okay, so what about first? I will write it as 0 here. Why? It is free. For 2 I have to write 1. Sorry. Zeroth means occupied, no? Okay, so that means what I should do is, I will write one vector like this. Let me show you the vector. I am writing here because this area is not permitting me to write. Okay, see now, occupied 0th byte, so I will write 0. Next is 1, next is 0, next 1, again 1, again 1, so on up to 1. So now here I want to write data Y. So what I should do? How the bit vector changes? See, this is 0, that means occupied. This 1, that means free. This is 0, that means occupied. So this is 1, that is third position, free. Fourth position is written, hence I have to change. Sorry, fifth position is 0, so I have to change. See, 0th, first, second, third, fourth. 0, first, second, third, fourth. That become 0 because it is just now occupied. So now something I have removed, so immediately I have to update that one to free. So this is called free space management bit vector. Okay, so you can see here how it is free space list. I told you, no, in the earlier, here in the first diagram of today's discussion, not only occupied memory list is prepared here, occupied, we can also prepare free blocks availability. That is done by free space managing unit or management unit. How it will do, you can see here, free space list. 2 is the starting, then 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can take it's a opposite of the previous diagram. Let me take one thing. Okay, please refer this diagram which I have derived from continuous allocation. So these will be complement to each other, because free space list, you can see here, this is the first diagram which I have explained you in the first part, contiguous allocation. See, 0th and 1 are occupied. So what is 2, 3, 4, 5? They are free. See, free space 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7 are busy, that means occupied. So from 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you can see 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15 are busy, but 17 is free. 13 to 17, 17, 18. So 19 to 24 are busy. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 are busy. So they will not appear in free space list. But 25, 26, 27 will appear. 25, 26, 27. That means allocated is done in directory. Free is done by free space management unit. Okay. So that's what the chapter. Okay. So here the free space management also will do grouping. So what are the things we have grouped here? We can see now. If you come for the cluster, first cluster, what is the first cluster and its size? Free space cluster 4. The starting is 2 and length is 4. Free space cluster I am telling. Starting 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hence first cluster starting is 2, length is 4. Second cluster starting 8, length is 6. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that is the second cluster. Third cluster starting 17, length is 2, 17 and 18. Next cluster starting 25, length is 3, 25, 26, 27. This is how cluster will maintain a data. Okay. So this is called a grouping. So counting, as I told, what is the grouping and counting. See how you could say starting is 2 and length is 4 by counting. Okay, we will start from the free and continuously tell up to what the cluster is totally free and for we can use it or we can allocate. That is called counting. Okay, so fine. So that finishes our chapter 11 and the module 4. Okay, so here you could check where we have completed. Okay, you can see here file system implementation, file as a concept, access methods, directory structure. This much we have studied in the previous session. This one, implementing file system. Okay, actually in the textbook it is in the chapter 11 or 12, but in the syllabus they are mentioning it as only the 10 because I am referring 7th edition. Maybe slight changes is there. Please go by the content. File system structure, file system implementation. Okay, virtual file system and normal or regular file system or a local file system. Today we have studied directory implementation, allocation methods, 3 allocation methods, continuous, okay, extension is a derived type, linked and indexed, free space management. Okay, I hope you can analyze. We have completed module 4. So in the next session we'll start a module 5. We'll try to finish it by 1 or 2 weeks. Okay, now or even a lesser. Okay, I'm going to share you the notes as well as the assignment questions very soon. Okay, thank you.